Welcome to another episode of Outtakes from the Mystics Reading Group. We'll be focusing on The Cloud of Unknowing, written by an anonymous author, 14th century England. I'll be reading from and reflecting on chapter 43, The Cloud of Unknowing. Make sure you let nothing but God enter your mind or work in your will. Try to reject any understanding or feeling that is not God. Trample it down under the cloud of forgetting. Then you'll see that in this work you must not only forget all other creatures and their actions, but also your own self and what you've done for God. Watch how a true lover acts. When you're in perfect love, you always love your beloved more than yourself. In fact, in many ways, you'll neglect yourself to serve the one you love. That's how you should handle yourself. Loathe everything not God that crosses your mind or influences your will. Grow weary of it, because whatever it is, it stands between you and God. Crush every thought of and feeling for every creature, especially thoughts and feelings for yourself. That's the linchpin. Your awareness of everything else is contingent on your awareness of yourself. Your reward for forgetting yourself is that you can then forget all other creatures easily. So try losing your self-consciousness. Test my advice and you'll discover something remarkable. When you succeed in forgetting all creatures and their works, and even your own life and all you've done, you'll be left alone with God to experience a stark awareness of your own existence. But even this must go. Yes, you must lose the naked feeling of who you are. It must be destroyed if you wish to experience the perfection of contemplation or love. All right. So there's some complexity and some subtlety in that chapter 43 in the Cloud of Unknowing. And at first it seems a little harsh. Forget all creatures, crush every thought and feeling for every creature, especially thoughts and feelings for yourselves. It seems a little harsh, as I say. It seems, frankly, maybe even a little dramatic. But what the author is describing really is the subtle move that we undertake in a practice of contemplative prayer. And when the author says, reject thoughts of other creatures and press down all their attachment to other creatures, what he's saying is let go of our attachment to and attraction to exterior stimuli. So in centering prayer, for instance, we go to a quiet place, we sit still, and we close our eyes. We're shutting ourselves off from exterior stimuli. The next thing the author says is let go even of thoughts and feelings of yourself. Well, that's another orbit, an inner orbit of letting go of all the interior coming and going that goes on in our consciousness and our minds, all the thinking and feeling we do. Let go of all of that. So we've let go of the exterior stimuli, then we let go of interior stimuli. And then the author says, and then you're left with your naked self, a naked feeling of who you are. You must lose and let go, even destroy your experience of self to go to the deepest, most perfect place, contemplation, or, as he says, pure love. This is the move that's very, very subtle. So I've let go of exterior stimuli. That makes sense. I'm not attaching to thinking and feeling, though difficult. That makes sense. And now I'm left with the watcher, as it were, the inner observer, that deepest sense of self. And I'm to let go of even that. We sometimes call this letting go of the separate self sense. It's somewhat like allowing yourself to fall into a pool of water. Just free fall into the pool of water. And once your body breaks the surface of the water, What if you became one with the water, disappeared as other than the water, just for a little bit, and you were perfectly suspended as one with the body of water? Now that's an analogy, a metaphor if you like, of what it is to allow the separate self sense, this sense that I have that I'm other than God, to sort of be whisked away. This is the gift of contemplation, the gift of being oned, as Julian of Norwich would say, in God who is love. So when we sit down in a practice like centering prayer, you can kind of see the author in this 43rd chapter saying, let go incrementally, sinking down further and further and further until you're left with a naked feeling of yourself alone, and then let go of that and allow yourself to be whisked away. And this is the prayer. This is a form of Christian meditation. Now, what we find is, as I've said many times, we're not called into isolation, away from the world, to be alone and to finally reject all creation, holding it at arm's length. We're actually turned back to all creation after this letting go. A little less enamored of ourselves and how we fit into the great big picture. We're detached and a little more interested in simply loving whoever and whatever is right in front of us from the deeper place with God. And what we find is this prayer rhythm of letting go sort of sneaks into our ordinary lives. And we find ourselves, again, a little less concerned with self and what's in it for me, and a little more simply in the flow of wanting to love for love's sake, without concern at all for what's in it for me. Because in some way, me has disappeared. As Thomas Merton might say, I've lost myself in the invisible face of God. And this is the way of the contemplative life. The paradox of letting go that we might engage more fully. Letting go that we might engage with life and all the people in our lives at every moment, moment to moment, at a deeper, less self-conscious level. And it's not for everyone. For some people, this is too subtle, But for those who are called to it, it's everything. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.